Gregory looked at Chase and Harry, his face trembling with anger. If it hadn't been his wife's birthday, he would have kissed right then and there. How dare he incite violence on this special day? And against a Jackson, no less. "I won't repeat myself again," he said, his facial muscles twitching. "Sit down." Chase refused to sit. "Are you deaf, boy?" he shouted. "Sit down now." Harry stood just beside his grandfather, his lips curled into a wicked smile. Tired of his smug behavior, Chase said, "Didn't you hear your grandfather? Hurry up and sit down." Harry laughed and Chase raised his fist, prepared to throw a punch. "Stop!" shouted Gregory. "Enough." He could not tolerate his grandson being spoken into a condescending manner and threatened with physical violence. Even though he was an old man, he was prepared to put his body in the way if need be. He raised his cane and placed the very end of it against Chase's chin, so that they were staring at each other across its shaft. Across the courtyard, a small, bright voice rang out. "All right, what's going on here?" An old woman dressed in simple yet beautiful clothes came floating over to them. She was in no hurry, and entirely unfazed by the ruckus. "Don't be unreasonable, boy," she said. Harry was stunned. Why wasn't his grandmother rushing to his defense? When Monica was finally beside her husband, he slowly lowered the cane from Chase's face, embarrassed that he had lost his composure. She smiled at her husband. "Not bad for an old man. It looks like you still have some fight in you." Gregory let out an awkward laugh. Everyone at the surrounding tables followed suit. Monica turned to look at Chase, and her gaze met his for an extended moment, as if she was trying hard to see something behind his eyes. "Chase?" she said. "Yes, it's me," he replied. "Look, honey," she said, elbowing her husband gently in the ribs. "My memory isn't as bad as they say it is." She then put her fist against her head and gave it a light knock. "Apparently I'm rather empty these days." Everyone was silent. Finally, she took Harry's hand and walked him over to Chase. "Grandma," he said in confusion, "are you feeling okay?" "I'm perfectly fine, dear," she said. "Now, both of you, shake hands. We are all family here. Let's not make things difficult." Harry went to speak, but Monica placed her fingertips upon his lips to quiet him. She continued, "You may not have liked each other in another life, but fate has brought you together as family. This is how it works." "But," Harry protested. She shot him a threatening look. Her imposing aura not only frightened Harry, but sent a wave of shivers through Chase as well. She was no ordinary person. She was otherworldly in her bearing. She continued, "I will not ask what started this fight between the two of you, but violence is never the answer." She did not wait for either of them to interject before adding, "So, with that, why don't we get on with my party? I haven't seen my family in a while, and I'd like to enjoy our time together." She affectionately patted Chase's shoulder, and what coldness he'd felt began to warm again. She then turned around and said, "Everyone, please excuse our family matters. Let's get back to the party, shall we?" She then floated back to the front of tables and gracefully said as she arrived. Gregory, red-faced with embarrassment, grabbed Harry's arm and hurried after her. After their departure, Celia rushed over to her husband. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I'm fine," he said. "Why didn't you tell me that your grandmother's memory is failing her?" She smiled helplessly and said, "It comes and goes. Some days are better than others." He paused and then asked, "Why was she so nice to me?" "Her faith is important to her," she answered. "You know, the golden rule and all that. She's always been very kind to me, too. But unfortunately, while others respect her, it's really only out of fear for my grandfather." She then shook her head and sat back down. Chase joined her at the table. Several hours later, the birthday party was bustling with noise and excitement. Countless people had sent gifts, and inside, Harry was not so gently picking up each one to try and guess what was inside. He picked up an unassuming little box and couldn't help but laugh. Who would give a gift that looked like this? "Grandfather," he said, calling Gregory over. "Is it time for Grandma to open her gifts? Why don't we start with this one? It's from me." He smiled mysteriously and signaled for someone to turn off the lights. By now, a crowd had gathered around the gift table, including Chase and Celia. "Harry, what are you doing? I can't see anything," said Gregory. "Are you going to give us a flashlight?" Monica walked over to her husband as he said, "That's more like a gift Chase would give. Though even that would be surprisingly thoughtful at this point." People laughed and Chase felt their mockery. His face went red. In the darkness, he gripped his hands tightly. Celia reached out for them. When everyone was done laughing, Harry cleared his throat and said, "Grandma, my gift took me a long time to acquire. I bought it from an old collector who had to search to get his hands on it. I hope you like it." "Oh, what is it?" she said, looking at her grandson with surprise and anticipation. "This bead," he said loudly, "goes all the way back to Magellan, you know, the great navigator. It was stolen from a native village in the 16th century and brought back to Portugal by one of his crew. And now it's yours. I hope it brings you great fortune." As the group watched in eager anticipation, he opened the box. As he did, a few faint purple rays of light shone out brightly. He then took out an incomparably bright spherical object that bathed the room in a lavender light, lighting up the faces in the crowd. Monica reached out to touch the pearl in her grandson's hand. She was trembling with joy and so grateful that she could find the words. It was as if the purple bead had some sort of magic. This is a night pearl," said Harry, so excited that his voice was cracking. The revelation of this iridescent bead ignited the crowd. They cooed over the thoughtful gift. "Oh my God, it's beautiful. It must be priceless. What a wonderful grandson. So thoughtful. It's so generous. I've heard of night pearls before. I almost bought one too."
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.